Gen Z, Genesis 5. Yo, this is the story of Adam and his fam. When God made humans, he made them in his own image. Yo, God made them male and female and gave them his blessing. He called them Adam when he created them. When Adam reached the age of 130, he had a child who was just like him and looked just like him. He named him Seth. After Adam had Seth, he went on to live a whopping 800 years with lots of sons and daughters. No cap. So, Adam was around for a solid 930 years before he passed away. Anyway, he lived a long time. But eventually, his time came to an end, and Seth lived to be 105 years old and became the father of Enos. Enos means Enosh in Hebrew. Seth lived for a long time, about 807 years after he had a kid named Enos. During those years, he had lots of sons and daughters. Seth lived for a solid 912 years and then kicked the bucket. Enos was around for a solid 90 years and became a proud parent of Canaan, also known as Canaan. And Enos, lived for 815 years after he had Canaan and also had sons and daughters. Enos was alive for a really long time, like 905 years, and then he passed away. And Canaan was around for 70 years, and then he had a kid named Mahalalel. P.S. Mahalalel is sometimes referred to as Mahalalel in Greek. And Canaan lived for 840 more years after he had Mahalalel. During that time, he also had a bunch of sons and daughters. Canaan lived to be a solid 910 years. Then he passed on, and Mahalalel was alive for 65 years and became a father of Jared. Then Mahalalel lived for another 830 years after he had Jared and had many sons and daughters. And Mahalalel lived for 895 years and then he passed away. So Jared was around for 162 years, and then he became a father of Enoch. And Jared lived for a whopping 800 years after he became a dad of Enoch. During that time, he also had a bunch of sons and daughters, and Jared lived for a cool 962 years before he passed away. So yeah, Enoch was around for 65 years, and then he became a dad to Masal. By the way, he's also known as Masala in Greek. And Enoch was all about the quality time with God for a solid 300 years after he became a dad to Masala. Oh, and he also went ahead to had a bunch of sons and daughters too. And Enoch lived for a total of 365 years, and Enoch was tight with God. They were always homies. And then one day, he just disappeared. God straight up scooped him up. Then Masala was alive for 187 years, and then had a child named Lamech. And Masala kept on living for a super long time, 782 years, after he became a dad of Lamech. He also had a bunch of other kids too. And Masala lived for a whopping 969 years before he passed on. And Lamech, he lived for 182 years, and then he became a dad and had a son. Then he named them Noah, which means rest or comfort in Greek, saying, "This guy is going to bring us some relief from all the hard work and sweat we put into our jobs because of the ground that God cursed." And Lamech was around for a solid 595 years after he became a dad to Noah. During that time, he also had some other kids, both girls and boys. Such a long, blessed life. Lamech lived for a pretty epic 777 years before he passed away. Noah was 500 years old when he became a dad to Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Can you believe it?